Ratty, said the mole suddenly one bright summer morning. I want to ask you a favor. The rat was sitting on the river bank singing a little song called Duck's Ditty that he had just composed or written. All along the backwater, through the rushes tall, ducks are a dabbling up, tails all. Ducks' tails, drakes' tails, yellow feet a quiver, yellow bills all out of sight, busy in the river. Everyone for what he likes, we like to be heads down, tails up, dabbling free. I don't know if I like that song, Rat, said the mole cautiously. Nor do the ducks, replied the rat. Ratty, began the mole again. What I wanted to ask was, won't you take me to call on Mr. Toad? I've heard so much about him. Why, certainly, said the good-natured rat. Get the boat out. It's never the wrong time to call on Toad. He must be a very nice animal, observed the mole, as he got into the boat and took the sculls. He is indeed the best of animals, replied Rat, as they set off to visit the distinguished Mr. Toad. Before long, as they were rounding a bend in the river, they came in sight of an elegant old red brick house, with well-kept lawns reaching down to the water's edge. There's Toad Hall, said the rat, and that creek on the left, where the notice board says private, leads to his boathouse, where we'll leave the boat. The stables are over there to the right. That's the banqueting hall you're looking at now. Toad is rich, you know. They glided up the creek and into the shadow of a large boathouse. There they disembarked, or started, and went in search of Toad. They found Toad resting in a wicker garden chair, with a large map spread out on his knees. Hooray! He cried, jumping up on seeing them. This is splendid! He shook the paws of both of them warmly. I was just going to send a boat down the river for you, Ratty. I need your help, said Toad. It's about your rowing, I suppose, said the rat. Oh, pooh, boating, interrupted the toad. I've given that up. Now come with me, dear friends. I have something to show you. He led the way to the stable yard, and there they saw a gypsy caravan, shining with newness and painted a canary yellow and green. Gypsies are wandering people who originally came from northern India. A caravan is a large covered wagon that is used as a traveling home. Why do you think some gypsies used caravans? Maybe because gypsies are wandering people so that the homes could travel? There you are, cried the toad. There's real life for you. The open road, the dusty highway. This is the very finest cart of its sort. Come inside and take a look. The mole was tremendously excited and followed him eagerly up the steps and into the caravan. The rat refused to follow. It was indeed very compact and comfortable. There were sleeping bunks, a little table that folded up, a cooking stove, a bird cage with a bird in it, and a variety of pots and pans. All complete, said the toad triumphantly, pulling up open a cupboard to reveal a variety of tasty treats. We are ready to set off this afternoon. I beg your pardon, said the rat. But did I overhear you say something about we and set off and this afternoon? Now, Ratty, said Toad, don't begin talking in that sniffy sort of way. I can't manage without you. You surely don't mean to stick to your dull old river all your life. I'm not coming, said the rat, and I'm going to stick to my old river, and what's more, Mole's going to stick to me. Aren't you, Mole? Of course I am, said the mole, loyally. All the same, it sounds as if it might have been fun, he added wistfully. The rat saw that Mole was disappointed. He hated disappointing people. Toad was watching both of them closely. Come along in and have some lunch, he said diplomatically, and we'll talk over it. We needn't decide anything in a hurry. So Toad wants to take their time and maybe try to convince him over lunch, you think? During luncheon, Toad spoke enthusiastically of the joys of the open road, so much so that the mole could hardly sit still in his chair. Before long, unable to disappoint his friends, the rat agreed to go. heading for the open road. When they were ready, Toad led his companions to the paddock to capture the old gray horse. For his part, the old gray horse did not want to be captured. Eventually, though, the horse was caught and harnessed, and they set off. A paddock is a small field. It was golden afternoon. The smell of the dust they kicked up was rich and satisfying. Late in the evening, they drew up on a remote common, turned the horse loose to graze, and ate their simple supper sitting on the grass. A common is a piece of land owned by many people and open to the community. At last they turned into their little bunks in the cart. Toad sleepily said, "Well, good night, you fellows. This is the real life for a gentleman." After so much open air, the toad slept very soundly, and no amount of shaking could rouse him the next morning. So the mole and rat set to work. The rat saw the horse and lit a fire, while the mole trudged off to the nearest village for milk and eggs. The hard work had all been done by the time Toad appeared. They had a pleasant ramble that day along narrow by lanes and camped as before on a common. This time the two guests made sure that Toad did his fair share of the work. As a result, when the time came for starting next morning, Toad was no longer singing the praises of the open road. Their way lay, as before, along narrow country lanes, and it was not till the afternoon that they encountered their first main road. There disaster struck, for as they strolled and chatted, from far behind an unfamiliar sound could be heard. Glancing back, they saw a cloud of dust advancing on them. From out of the dust a faint pop pop sounded. Ignoring this strange vision, they turned to resume to their conversation. Then, in an instant, the peaceful scene was changed. A blast of wind and a whirl of sound caused them to jump out of the road. The pop pop sound rang once more. As the sound rang out, they glimpsed a magnificent motor car with its pilot hugging the wheel. This splendid vehicle flung a cloud of dust in their direction, and then it was gone. At the sight and the sound of this vehicle, the old gray horse reared and backed toward a ditch. Before long, the canary yellow and green colored cart lay on its side. The rat danced up and down on the road. "You villains!" he shouted, shaking both fists in the air. While Rat was shaking his fist, the toad sat straight down in the middle of the dusty road and murmured, "Pop, pop." For his part, the mole was busy trying to quiet the horse. Then he went to look at the cart on its side in the ditch. The rat came to help him, but to no avail. "Hi, Toad," they cried. "Come and help us." The toad did not reply, so they went to see what was the matter. They found him in a sort of trance, his eyes still fixed on the dusty road. A trance is like a dreamlike state. The rat shook him. "Are you coming to help us, Toad?" he demanded. "Wonderful sight," murmured Toad. "The real way to travel." "Oh, stop being a fool," Toad cried the mole. "And to think I never knew," continued the toad, "but now that I do, what dust clouds shall soon spring up behind me." "What are we going to do with him?" asked the mole of the rat. "Nothing at all," replied the rat firmly. "You see, I know him too well. He is now possessed, or taken over. Never mind him. Let's go see what there is to be done about the cart." A careful inspection showed them that the cart was in a hopeless state. The rat knotted the horse's reins over his back and took him by the head, carrying the birdcage in the other hand. "Come on," he said grimly to the mole. "It's 5 or 6 miles to the nearest town, and we shall just have to walk." "But what about Toad?" asked the mole anxiously. "Oh, bother Toad," said the rat. "I've done with him." This is a British way of saying, "Forget about Toad, I'm done with him." They had not proceeded very far on their way, however, when there was a pattering of feet behind them, the toad caught up with them. This is a British way of saying toad caught them, and he went back with them. Now look here, Toad, said the rat sharply. As soon as we get to the town, you have to go straight to the police station to lodge a complaint, and then you have to make arrangements to have the cart mended or fixed. Police station? Complaint, murdered Toad. Me? Complain of that heavenly vision that saved me. Mend the cart. I'm done with carts. Forever. The rat turned from him in despair. You see, he said to the mole, addressing him across Toad's head, he's quite hopeless. On reaching the town, they left the horse at a stable and gave what directions they could about the cart. They went home by train and escorted Toad to his house. Then they got out their boat from the boathouse and set off for home. The following evening, the mole was sitting in the bank fishing when the rat, who had been chatting to friends, came strolling along to find him. Heard the news? He said. Toad went up to town and ordered a large, very expensive motor car. What do you think's going to happen in the next chapter? We're going to go over some vocab, unless your teacher tells you to pause at the end of the story. Call on is to visit socially. Common is a piece of land owned by many people. Possess is controlled or owned by something. So I said taken over, kind of like that. A state. So a state could be many different things, but this one is a physical or emotional condition or shape that something is in or a way of being for a period of time. So if I said, what type of state are you in right now? We're talking about emotions. And mended is fixed, repair, or patched up. Okay, have a good day.